Have you ever wanted something so badly that you'd do anything to get it? Well, imagine two of the most powerful cities in the ancient world, both wanting the same thing, to rule the Mediterranean Sea. On one side, we have Rome, the rising superpower of Italy. On the other side, Carthage, the wealthy trading empire of North Africa. When these two giants clashed, the result was over 100 years of war, complete with sea battles, sacred chickens, and, yes, war elephants. This is the story of the Punic Wars, one of the most epic conflicts in all of history. By 264 BCE, Rome had conquered all of Italy. You'd think they'd be satisfied, right? Wrong. The Romans wanted to control trade across the entire Mediterranean Sea, but there was a problem. Another city had the same dream, Carthage. Carthage was founded by the Phoenicians hundreds of years earlier on the northern coast of Africa. It became incredibly rich by trading with cities all around the Mediterranean. Their ships carried valuable goods like purple dye, glass, and metals. They made so much money that Carthage became one of the wealthiest cities in the world. Rome wanted to trade with all these same cities, and Carthage didn't want Rome interfering with their business. Carthage wanted to keep making money, and Rome didn't want anyone standing in their way. It was like two kids fighting over the same toy, except instead of a toy, it was control of the entire Mediterranean Sea. And these weren't just any kids. These were the two most powerful cities in the world. So in 264 BCE, the fighting began. These wars were called the Punic Wars. Punic was the Roman word for Phoenician, because remember, the Phoenicians founded Carthage. These wars would last for over 100 years. Can you imagine that? A war lasting longer than your great-grandparents have been alive. At first, Carthage had a huge advantage. Why? Because they had a navy. Carthaginian sailors were some of the best in the world. They'd been sailing the Mediterranean for centuries. Rome? They didn't have a navy at all. They were much better at fighting on land, but the Romans got lucky. A Carthaginian ship wrecked on the coast of Italy. The Romans took that ship apart, piece by piece, studying how it was built. Then they made copies. Soon, they had their own fleet and learned how to sail. The Romans were fast learners. But even with their new ships, the Romans were worried. They made lots of sacrifices to their gods, hoping for victory. And this is where our story gets really interesting. There was a Roman general named Claudius Pulcher who had a rather unusual battle strategy. He brought sacred chickens with him on his ship. In ancient Rome, people believed they could predict the future by watching how sacred chickens ate. If the chickens ate eagerly, it meant good fortune. If they didn't eat, well, that was very, very bad news. Unfortunately for Claudius Pulcher, his chickens got seasick. They wouldn't eat at all. His soldiers got more and more nervous. "The gods are against us," they whispered. "We can tell because the chickens aren't eating. We're doomed." Claudius Pulcher got so frustrated that he finally shouted, "If they won't eat, then let them drink." And he ordered his men to throw the sacred chickens overboard into the sea. As you might guess, this didn't go well. In the next battle, Claudius Pulcher was badly defeated. All his soldiers believed they lost because they had thrown the sacred chickens into the sea and angered the gods. Maybe they should have just given those chickens some ginger for their seasickness. The war dragged on and on. The Romans and Carthaginians fought battle after battle at sea, but neither side could win. It was a stalemate. That's when one of the greatest military commanders in history came up with an absolutely brilliant plan. His name was Hannibal. Hannibal looked at the situation and thought, everyone expects us to attack Rome by sea, but what if we attack by land instead? There was just one tiny problem. Between Carthage's territories in Spain and Italy stood the Alps, some of the highest and most dangerous mountains in Europe. But Hannibal wasn't called a genius for nothing. In 218 BCE, he gathered his best soldiers and 40 war elephants. Yes, you heard that right. Elephants! Then he led them on an incredible journey around the Mediterranean Sea by land, up and over the Alps mountains. The journey was brutal. The snow was deep, the paths were narrow and dangerous, and many men and elephants fell to their deaths. But Hannibal pressed on. Why? Because no one would expect an attack to come from that direction. It would be a complete surprise. Imagine you're a Roman soldier, camping peacefully near the northern border of Italy. It's snowing, and you're huddled in your tent, trying to stay warm. Suddenly, you hear strange noises. You peek outside into the swirling snow and mist. The ground begins to shake. Boom, boom, boom. Then, out of the snow, massive, dark shapes appear. They're huge. Most of the Roman soldiers had never seen an elephant before in their entire lives. And these weren't ordinary elephants, these were war elephants. These elephants were specially trained for battle. Their handlers had taught them to spread their giant ears wide to make their heads look even bigger and more terrifying. Their faces were painted bright red, white, and yellow. Some elephants pulled carts full of Carthaginian soldiers shooting arrows. Others carried wooden boxes on their backs filled with even more attacking soldiers. The Roman soldiers fled in terror. Some brave soldiers tried to mount their horses to fight back, but the horses were just as terrified as the men. The horses bolted, carrying their riders away into the darkness. For the next several years, Hannibal and his elephants roamed up and down Italy, burning villages and defeating Roman armies. The Romans were absolutely terrified. They feared that Hannibal would march all the way to Rome itself and burn their great city to the ground. But then a Roman general named Scipio had a brilliant idea. He thought, while Hannibal and his best soldiers are here in Italy, who's protecting Carthage? Scipio gathered Rome's best soldiers and sailed directly to North Africa. He attacked the city of Carthage itself. The people of Carthage weren't expecting this at all. All their best soldiers were off fighting in Italy with Hannibal. They panicked and sent an urgent message to Hannibal. Come back home. We need you. Hannibal had to leave Italy and sail back across the Mediterranean to defend his home city. But there was a problem. His soldiers were exhausted. They'd been fighting in Italy for years. They were worn out, tired, and far from home. When Hannibal's tired army faced Scipio's fresh Roman troops, the Carthaginians were defeated. Hannibal himself had to run away and hide in Asia Minor, far to the east. Finally, after all those years of fighting, Carthage was forced to surrender to Rome. The Great Punic Wars were over, and Rome had won. When Hannibal heard that his beloved city had surrendered to Rome, he was heartbroken. This great general, the man who had terrified Rome with his elephants and brilliant tactics, couldn't bear to live in a world where Carthage was defeated. He drank poison and ended his own life. It's a sad ending to an epic story. Hannibal was one of the greatest military commanders who ever lived. Even today, over 2,000 years later, military officers around the world still study his tactics and strategies. The Punic Wars changed history forever. Rome became the dominant power in the Mediterranean and eventually grew into one of the greatest empires the world has ever seen. The city of Carthage was eventually destroyed completely by the Romans in 146 BCE. But the stories lived on. The sacred chickens, the elephants crossing the Alps, Hannibal's genius strategies, and Rome's determination. These weren't just wars. They were battles between two great civilizations, each fighting for their dreams. So, what do you think? Was Hannibal the greatest general ever? Should those Roman soldiers have thrown the sacred chickens overboard? And who do you think was the real hero of this story? Leave your thoughts in the comments below. If you enjoyed learning about ancient history, don't forget to like this video and subscribe for more amazing stories from the past. Until next time, keep learning and stay curious.